Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to talk about Joe Biden. Joe Biden issued, a statement in regards to his Supreme Court reform. He just issued that statement this morning, so we'll talk about that. Elon Musk calling Google election rigor. We're going to talk about that. And Kamala Harris, there's some more things coming up against Kamala Harris, some more people speaking out, I guess, quote unquote, against Kamala Harris. This is everyday general people, not what the mainstream media is pushing for you to know, the propaganda that they're pushing, propping up Kamala Harris. I don't know if you're supporting Kamala Harris, but we need to make sure that we know everything about Kamala Harris, not just because she's a black woman, we're going to vote for her. Okay. So we'll talk more about Kamala Harris. And finally, the Olympics debacle. Okay. The opening, of course, I wasn't surprised of the opening. This is Paris. Paris is known for their debauchery. I mean, they have legal prostitution. They live their life in a different way than what we see over here. Okay. And of course they have the freedom of speech and the freedom of right to be whoever you want to be. It's nothing wrong with that. But the main problem with the Paris opening is what they depicted. And we'll talk more about that. So that's all on today's episode of Business Talk. So you guys stay tuned. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Looks a little something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. That's right. You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Please put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. I see we have Eric Sanderson, what is good? Yuck Photube, what is good? It's always good to see you. Hello, Patriots. Samuel Matthews is in the building. What is good with you? It's always good to see you. Joseph, hello, my Detroit love. Thank you for tuning in, Joseph. It's always good to see you. Posh Pedal, DC is in the house. Thank you, Posh Pedals, for tuning in. Yuck Photube is heck no, I would never vote for Compula or Mamala Harris. All the men she kept locked up in Cali while she was the governor, kept them there for cheap labor. Yeah. And you know what? That's what she extended people's sentences. She extended people's sentences. They were supposed to leave the prison. Hello, I served my time. I should be able to leave. She didn't allow people to leave for cheap labor. For cheap labor. I think that's why her and Nancy Pelosi gets along so well. Because, you know, Nancy Pelosi, she owns some type of farm down there. I don't know if it's a winery or whatever, but some type of vineyard or orange farm or whatever. I had to look more into it. But that's she needs cheap labor. And that's why they like illegal immigrants coming over here, for the cheap labor to pretty much take advantage of illegal immigrants, because they know they're going to come over here and work for free. Okay. Or little to nothing. We have Eric Sanderson. He's saying he's tuning in from Virginia. Splecia is from North New York, is in the house. It is good. Let's see who else we have in here. Every single last one of you guys, thank you for tuning in. Okay. We're going to get started. I'm going to show you this opening, and you tell me what you feel about this opening. This is the Paris opening. This is just one of the many parts of the opening. They had many singers, many performers that contribute to the opening. But this one part that everyone is really upset, particularly the religious community. If you're a Christian, you know this very well. But some people are saying, "Oh, this is a freedom of speech." We could say the depiction of the mural that or the painting is the same thing. So, but you let me know how you feel about this. Okay, so.
Performing the song King, costumes
One part of the video, these performers, I guess they're all drag queens besides this lady in the middle. Maybe not. Maybe I'm misspeaking. Some of them do look like women, but it's a lot of drag queens and some flamboyant people. But we could say the LGBTQ community. Okay. One guy has his balls hanging out. He has his balls hanging out. This guy right here. So this is a depiction of the Last Supper. Okay, everyone knew this depiction of the Last Supper, but the backlash that was received from that, religious leaders are really calling them out for this type of boldness for them to portray or to enact, I guess, this Last Supper, to look as if that these are the disciples and this lady, this she looked really greasy. I don't know why she got so much grease on her body. This lady is supposed to be I guess, the semblance of Jesus Christ. This is what they did in Paris. Okay. This is what they did in Paris. Then you had this fool naked, dressed up like a Smurf. This is what, Smurf? I'm not for sure. Who is this person? You guys might not see it, but this guy right here, this guy in the black, this is his balls hanging out. You don't feel that? You don't feel the whole air on your balls. Your genitals are hanging out. And you thought that was cute. This is their expression of, their performers. I guess one of the guys that created this performance, he said he wanted to include everyone in this event. He wanted a picture of everyone. It says telecommunications company C Spire has pulled all advertisement from the Olympics after they mocked Christianity in their opening ceremony. Some people saying the opening ceremony of the Olympics is not even hiding the satanic rituals. There's no longer anything hidden in plain sight. These are demonic forces of Satan who want to eclipse the light. You can already see skulls, motifs of death, satanic red lighting, children trapped in tunnels. Did anyone notice the single rider on the pale horse is straight out of the book of Revelations? And it says, and I took, this is Revelation 6:8, and I took, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. This is what they're talking about. So very demonic stuff that they presented. Rock band or metal rock, I guess you want to call it. this kind of crazy type of behavior. Okay, so the world leaders, it says, a U.S. and the world leaders denounced Paris Olympics opening ceremony mocking of the Last Supper. And it's saying that, I don't know why it's not accessing the content, but it's basically saying some of the world leaders after the drag queens and depicted of a Leonardo da Vinci painting, they're denouncing what they did in this ceremony. Like I said, I'm not surprised of this coming from Paris, because Paris is known for their debauchery. You guys put in the chat, are you surprised about their whole depiction, or the whole performance of the Paris Olympics?
She said the following on X: men in wigs front and center at the Olympic Games. No one ever tell me this group is oppressed or marginalized again. Elon Musk: this was extremely disrespectful to Christians. Radio host Clint Russell said there are 2.4 billion Christians on earth, and apparently the Olympics wanted to declare loudly to all of them right out of the gate, not welcome. It's so bizarre. Why would they do? What's the theme here? What's the reasoning here in your estimation, Paul?
Absolutely. I mean, look, let's just say this. They're not going to be doing this to any other religion. As a Christian myself, I find this highly offensive, all the stuff they're doing. I mean, beyond that, we have children that are watching the Olympics. Children love watching the Olympics. I wouldn't want my future children watching what I just saw. I mean, Jen can probably talk to this more as a mother herself. What are they thinking in doing this and
being policed? I think that the success, you mentioned my brand, XXXY Athletics, we were kicked off TikTok. The more we get banned, the more people lean in to buy it. They're tired of the language police.
Yeah, they really are. I want to go back because another judge, by the way, Paula, you know this, has blocked the Title IX rewrite from the Biden administration. The Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey wrote the following: this is a huge win for women and girls across the country. The court recognized that Joe Biden's plan to allow biological males into female spaces was not only blatantly illegal, but also a slap in the face to every woman in America. What do you think about the decision? It's not unexpected, but what do you think about it?
I mean, obviously, we're seeing this in courts across the country, right? Nobody wants this. Nobody wants men in women's locker rooms. Nobody wants men on women's.
Not to cut her off, but nobody wants people or men in women locker spaces. Nobody wants to see it. If you have girl children, you don't want your children to compete against boys. I mean, just nobody wants to see it. Back to the Olympics, though. Why would they do this? We could call it the woke mindset or whatever. They want to embrace. They want this Sodom and Gomorrah type environment. Everyone is having, this sex with each other. Everyone is free. You could show your genitals on national TV or worldwide TV, and no one complains about it. They want this. They want to push this narrative out to you and I and to your children, saying this is okay. This type of behavior is okay, and it's truly not okay. It's very sickening, and I'm surprised the U.S. even allowed this to be shown on national TV. China was not allowed. They did not play this, even though it's a communist country, but they didn't play this because they know this is debauchery. They don't want their society acting like this. They don't want to warp their society saying that this type of behavior is okay. And it's not. It's not okay. It's not okay for you to show children genitals and everything is sexy, and you're the disrespect to all the Christians out there. It's like a slap in the face. They would never do this if it was Muslim. They wouldn't do this to the Muslim nation or the Muslim religion. But since the Bible says turn the other cheek, I guess, there's no backlash. They're going to write letters. They'll write letters and do that. But you wouldn't dare make a mockery of the Holy Quran or depict the Holy Quran as some debauchery. You wouldn't dare do that. And I'm not trying to tell Christians to uprise and be, take it to the next level, but they wouldn't dare do that. And speaking of debauchery, so your girl Kamala Harris, she ended up getting, her, what is it called? She ended up getting her support from the Obamas. She received her support from the Obamas. I believe this was fake. This was a fake call. Well, of course, they're filming her. And she like, I'm walking in and I'm so busy. Hey, girl. Like, no. The Obamas, I don't even think they like her, really. But somebody said, hey, she's a shoo-in. We're going to make sure we turn off Google search on Donald Trump. And she's a shoo-in.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi. You're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
So, she has that nomination,
Kamala.
or let's say she received the golden call from the Obamas. Everyone wants to know. And I said Obama doesn't really endorse a campaign or a person until after the primary. I stand corrected because he endorsed Kamala before she was nominated as the primary candidate. Okay, so I'm predicting they're going to do a switch and bait type of thing, maybe. I'm not for sure now, since Obama is on board. Okay, but I know there's a lot of rumbling. We shared with you last week. There's a lot of rumbling within Kamala's party that Kamala is not a popular person. She's not a popular person with the party. Now, back to the Olympics. We're showing debauchery. That's what we want to push on the world stage. Also, Kamala, she likes this. She wants to push. She's hyper focused on the small percentage of the community, the LGBTQ community. No shade on the LGBTQ community. Yeah, they deserve rights or whatever. But what about the 95% of the other people? You don't care. You don't care about the 95 other percent of the people. You just care about the gays and the lesbians, okay? And abortion.
All in this together, and your vote is your power. So please make sure your voice is heard this November and register to vote at vote.gov.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Now on with the show.
And remember, you better vote.
Yeah, you better vote, but I don't think you should be voting for her. If you have other issues that you want to address within America and in the community, you might want to look at Kamala's record. before you start hitching your ticket or your vote, or saying that you will vote for Kamala Harris. Reason why I'm saying that is because I ran across a video not too long ago about Kamala Harris. Now, we talked about Kamala Harris. You know, she kept people behind bars, extended their sentence. The gentleman that they wrongfully convicted, he was on death row, and she refused to turn over the state evidence, saying, hey, we have evidence that the cops tainted with the evidence or whatever, and it doesn't point to this victim, and we know you lied. So you are refusing to turn over this evidence and release this prisoner. The courts had to step in and force Kamala to let this man go off of death row. He was about to die, and she refused to let him go. The guy ended up suing the state of California, and he won like $3.5 million. But this is Kamala's doing. I guess she didn't want to be wrong. Let me get to some of your chats before I go to the next story. Samuel Matthews, it was so fake. Yes, it was. It was so fake. Styles, thank you for the super chat. Styles by Miss Bobby, I really appreciate you for the super chat. The call was definitely fake. Yes, it was. Made in Texas. I believe he had to. Probably so. He probably had to. They probably like, oh, we need you to call in. You got to take one for the team. Even though he didn't like her. I don't think he likes Kamala Harris. Anyway, I think everyone thinks in their camp, even the Biden camp, Kamala Harris is incompetent. Samuel J., if the Democrats win, we will see another shadow presidency from Obama. Exactly. We will. Not very democratic of Kamala. Splecia, thank you for the super chat. You know, I'm not surprised that, you know, he endorsed Kamala. Okay. So like I was getting to before, Kamala has a very bad track history. She does not have black people in mind. Matter of fact, everything she does is totally against black people. Everything she totally does is against specifically black men. That's why black men do not like her. Black men with kahunas, real black men. Not the crying black men. The ones that's like, oh, we need to look at it. Not the black old Democrat like Roland Martin and all these old heads that have been voting Democrat for 900 years. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the real black men that don't be going to church, that actually some go down in their community. They're the first line of defense. Those type of black men. You do something to their family, they take law in their own hands. Those type of black men. They don't vote for Kamala. They not gonna vote for Kamala. Those are the men that I'm talking about. The ones with the kahunas. Okay. Now, so I just want to find this. Back in 2013, Kamala charged Nina Simone estate with misuse of funds. I guess the granddaughter purchased something, but she used $2 million of the estate. And they said, oh, you want to use the $2 million, which is, it was in a trust and it's her estate. She could use the money if she want to. But they charged her for misuse of funds. I don't know if she didn't pay the right people or whatever. They charged her. And instead of Kamala Harris said, oh, I know how it is, you know, in Hollywood is treacherous of them. The whole thing, they steal rights from people anyway. What is it called? Signing rights, development rights, the masters and stuff from singers. And Nina Simone, she had that all in her estate. Okay, and her granddaughter was responsible for it. And they charged her, they said she used $2 million for this. Okay, this is the story.
And it's alleged that neither did they have any say. Y'all heard that song get sampled by Jay-Z in the story of OJ. But you know that Nina Simone's daughter and granddaughter and family did not get the royalties to that. Neither did they have any say-so in Nina Simone's documentary in her movie, because Kamala Harris in 2013, do you know that she took Nina Simone's estate from her daughter, from her granddaughter? Yeah, the same Kamala Harris that we all see running on the sister girl this, sister girl that. In 2013, she charged Nina Simone's daughter with improper use of funds of Miss Nina Simone's estate. And it's alleged that her daughter used $2 million, around $2 million for personal reasons. Kamala Harris's Attorney General office came in and they took the estate by fining Nina Simone's daughter over $6 million in penalty fees for what she did, or what they alleged that she did. And instead of going around and working with her, instead of finding a way and saying, hey, pay restitution, she took the estate of Miss Nina Simone and gave it to white people. And yes, so the estate of one of the most pro-black, downright strong for Black America sisters estate is being run by white people because of Kamala Harris. They went so far as, if you guys saw Nina Simone's movie, do you remember the big uproar that they had over Zoe Saldana playing Nina Simone? Yeah, that was done by the people that took over the estate after Kamala Harris assigned it to them. Does this woman on screen look like this woman on screen? Does Zoe Saldana look anything like Nina Simone? So no, the family did not get to benefit from the movie. And this was all done just before her movie was released, and they started to re-release a lot of Nina Simone music and things from the past. So yeah, right when it came time to produce and to really reintroduce Nina Simone back to the world, Kamala Harris took the estate from her daughter. And so that is just a little bit of a eye peek into who she is.
A evil, social or psychopath. And psychopath. I said she's a psycho and sociopath, Kamala Harris. You're saying that you're so pro-black and you did this intentionally because there's other things that you could agree to so they could keep that estate in the family. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, Kamala Harris is tied into the movie and the entertainment industry. Her husband is tied into that. So it's probably with some undercover stuff. Hey, we need you. You want to be a senator? We could get you in the Senate office. But this is what you need to do. We want that estate. Things like that. Things like that. Black.
I haven't learned this, but I did this.
Okay.
I haven't learned this, but I know this.
Okay, all you're doing is 3 times 3 is 9. 7 times 3 is what? That's all you're doing. You're multiplying down the line with the top number. Okay. Sorry about that. So I just don't understand how people could go so gun-ho for Kamala Harris and she does this type of evil stuff that is very anti-black. Very anti-black. And people might say, oh, she shouldn't have spent that $2 million on personal use. This is all allegedly. You see how they trumped up charges against Trump. Saying he paid all his business loans back, but they said he lied on his, he inflated on his evaluation on his real estate property. Well, how did he inflate? Of course, if I'm trying to sell a property, if my house is worth $500,000, I'm gonna say, yeah, I think it's worth $650 because I'm trying to get more money from it. But I'm not the certifier that's gonna certify or the appraiser that's gonna appraise my house. I don't have a certificate of appraiser. So I mean, so we're saying that Kamala Harris is for black people, and she really is not for black people. She is for herself. Kamala Harris is going to do everything to get into this office, and it might be running over black people. Now, if you're a president, should your agenda be only for the black people? No, I think your people, it should have the whole general public in mind, their whole entire people. What is the American people pain points? If the president, a person that's running for president, and they're not identifying the pain points of the American people, they should not be in office. Not because she is a woman, not because she's black, not because she loves the LGBTQ. Who cares about that? The pain points of the people. And some people, majority of people, pain points is going to the pump and you putting $60 in your tank and your tank ain't even full. That's a pain point. Or you buying eggs and bread and the shit is high as hell. You spend $100 on the grocery and you can't get a complete meal. Those are pain points that I'm talking about. So before we just gun-ho Kamala Harris, this is the kind of woman that you want to vote into office. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose some more subscribers, but I don't give a damn. This is the person you want to vote in. Okay, this is the person that you want to vote in. The same person that locked individuals up, parents up, because they couldn't get their kids to school. You don't know what's going on. More likely, their kids, they came from a one-parent home, and maybe their mama or daddy had to work, and they had to get themselves to school. We don't know. Or maybe it's instability of housing. Maybe they don't have a mass transit system. Do they have a bus system? This is what this Kamala Harris, and she laughed about it.
Well, and I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So
I agree on that point. Yeah, less educated, you're gonna be running rampant, and you don't have no sense of self-worth, no purpose in life. So yeah, I believe what she's saying. But this is the way you think you're gonna stop people from showing up from school or to school.
I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my re-election race. And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount.
You laughing about it. You're prosecuting parents, probably single mothers, that can't get their kids to school. It's not because they don't want them to go to school. It has to be some other reason, woman. But since she is a childless person, she don't know that. She adopted her kids, her and Doug Emhoff. I guess she adopted Doug Emhoff kids. But she never bear any children, so she don't know what it is to have a child, a baby. She don't know that. She has no clue. And I would be I wouldn't be surprised if Kamala had a nanny. Anyway, You guys put it in chat. Let me know what you think. That's Kamala Harris. Last thing about Kamala Harris. MSNBC asked, how many of you know black men who was expressed to you they are committed to voting for Donald Trump? And all the black men raised their hands.
How many of you know a black man who has expressed to you that they're committed to voting for Donald Trump? Okay. For the brothers who have told you that or said that to you, has the emergence of Kamala Harris changed that for those brothers? No.
Because black men, they don't give a damn if Kamala identifies black and if she cook greens and shit. They don't give a shit about that. They don't care. Why would they change their sentiment? Oh, it's a black woman in the race. Let me. No, all the men like, nah, we ain't about that. What is her policies? What are her policies? Okay. So, now this leads me to my next topic. You guys put in the chat. Let me know what you think. Put it in the chat. Leads me to my next topic. Let me just look at some of your chats. Spleisha said, didn't she sleep her way to the top? That she did have an affair with the mayor at one point. So yeah, I guess you could say that's how she got her shoe in. Can we say the rest was off her merit? Not for sure. I'm not for sure who she had tied herself to. So I don't know. I know she was dating Montel Williams at one point. Does that win the election? No. I'm pretty sure 2013 was just before she got elected to Senate. So that probably was one of her pivotal points. Hey, I'm going to take Nina Simone's estate and I'm going to get into the Senate. So, things like that, that's how it works. You pad my pocket, I pad yours. Samuel Matthews, taking the parents away is not the answer. Yeah. You prosecuting parents and what are you putting them behind bars? Then now the kids is in the system. Doesn't make sense. Jay Jones, policy over personality. Yes, number one, no one knows her policy. She doesn't even have it up there. But are for her. All they know is like, oh, she for abortion. They call it women's reproductive rights. Sweet Willie. Sweet Willie. That's his name, Sweet Willie. I just put a video about Kamala Harris if y'all want to go and check it out. So this leads me to my next topic, the topic of Google. Now, this is really interesting because they have up here, someone put in Meta AI, tell me about the Trump assassination on Trump. And it says, I can't assist with that. I don't always have access to the most up-to-date information. Can I help you with anything else? So they asked Meta AI, tell me about Kamala Harris' campaign for presidency of 2024. They give you a whole synopsis of Kamala Harris and her platform. Okay, when she announced it, that was on July the 21st. When President Biden withdrew her platform, advocates for domestic platforms supporting national abortion protections and LGBTQ rights. Anyway, okay, so we have Meta, they're programming now. I did some side work on what is it called, machine learning. Machine learning, all it is you tell AI what they need to know. Okay, mine was more on a scientific end, but all they do is they send you a list of questions and you type in the answers for those list of questions. And it has to be grammatically correct. If it's science, of course, it has to be math or physics or whatever the questions you are putting programming in it. It's called machine learning. Machine learning, and it then once it's input in the system, it's basically spitting out what the people put in. So those are jobs. This is AI technology. That's so the computer is only as smart as the user. Okay. So if you're typing in, oh, tell me more about a Trump assassination. Now they do have AI technology that they could surf the web and pull out information from news articles. What is it? GPT. I'm not for sure how up to date their information is now because I haven't used them in a while, but I know there was a year behind. I'm not for sure. Matter of fact, while we're talking, let's just see if they actually nation attempt. They are a year behind. Okay, so Chat GPT. It says, as my last update in July 24, there has been no successful assassination attempt on Donald Trump. However, there have been few notable incidents and threats involving him. Then they just cite whatever. So they don't even mention this last assassination attempt. Okay. Least they reported. Meta AI, on the other hand, which is Facebook, they're, I guess, suppressing the information. I'm not for sure. Maybe they're suppressing the information. Same with Google. Okay. So Elon Musk is calling Google out. He's actually calling Google out for them trying to, number one, election interference, and trying to rig the election. Like, what are you doing here? You know, some people should be really kind of wondering why, if I type in Google, why wouldn't type in the interface or the search interface Donald Trump or just Donald, President Donald. This is what the drop down comes up. While Google has search ban on Google has a search ban on Donald Trump. It does. You literally will have to type Donald Trump campaign. Now, since I already typed it, it's going to drop down because I already searched it before. But originally, when I was trying to detect whether or not Donald Trump was actually promoting the Project 25 platform, because that's what they were saying, versus what was he trying to, what was his actual platform. You typed in Donald Trump, Joe Biden came up. This is before Joe Biden, decided to drop out the race. So you tell me. So they're stonewalling basically President Donald Trump, and these drop downs are coming up. And some people are saying Google is owned by Democrats. Okay. Yeah, we could say that. Most people that is under the Google regime, they're probably owned by Democrats. Okay. And then someone put up here, oh no, this was Elon Musk. Elon Musk actually said probably just a coincidence that the Alphabet Google employees were top donors to Biden. Okay. This was the 2020 election cycle. Google, they had 1.7 million employees that donated to Joe Biden. This is how you could tell who runs the country. University of California, 1.4. U.S. government, 858. Compared to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, he got some workers, the U.S. Postal Service, U.S. Defense Department, U.S. Army, like for the people. The people is donating to his campaign. You got Lockheed Martin, big corporations that don't want all the, I guess the government stipulation, like the EPA laws and all those things. Of course, they're going to go vote for Donald Trump because they believe in capitalism. But you have Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft. These are the top 5 donors, or top 6 donors of Joe Biden. University of California, Apple, Democracy Engine, Harvard University, Stanford University, Kaiser Permanent. I don't know what that is. I don't know what Kaiser is. Is the same thing as the Kaiser Group? I'm not for sure. AT&T, Morgan & Morgan, Paul Weiss. That looks like a large, maybe that's a large law firm. Maybe I'm not for sure. You guys put it in the chat. State of California. A whole state of California. I know they got a lot of people, but they're in their top, what is this, top 25? Okay, top donors. City of New York. We know this. We know this. And then you have all these U.S. Postal Services, U.S. Defense Department, U.S. government, U.S. Army, U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy. Then you have Walmart, Bank of America, Delta Airlines, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, U.S. Parcel Services, Raytheon Technologies. These are all the, defense, probably corporations. Boeing, they make the jets and the engines and stuff like that. Probably defense contracts, maybe we could say defense contracts. So they're donating to Donald Trump. And then you have Texas Children's Hospital. You don't have a state, you don't have a particular university that's donating to Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump, he's really for the people. You could tell by his donation, the people that donated to Joe Biden, who he's for. Big corporation. Corporation runs the United States, you guys. That's the deep state. Those are the people that's running the country. These people right here. Okay? Let me know if I'm lying. Let me know if I'm lying. Okay, so and then, so Elon Musk called Google out for, trying to rig the election, which they are trying to rig the election. And they also called him out. Then they were very, very, upset that Elon Musk shared this campaign. And Gavin Newsom spoke out against it. And then they saying, oh, this is a threat to our democracy. This is so wrong. This parody should be removed. It's a joke, okay? Elon Musk, he could talk about politics all he wants, just like, what's his name? Any other person, they could talk about politics all they want, but they're not a politician. You're trying to say there's not a freedom of speech, and they can't create it, which I'm saying Elon Musk, but you guys could create all the propaganda you want. Doesn't make any sense. It's to stop being double standard. This is the campaign he put out.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time.
Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression.
So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. You think the country went to shit over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought this was hilarious. You know, I mean, what can you say about this? But they were so upset that, you know, he's been sharing this. And, you know, it's Elon Musk, of course. And I'm pretty sure, let me just go to his account. Elon Musk, I'm pretty sure it was shared millions. Millions of times. Because, you know, this is, it's hilarious. So whoever made this, it was brilliant. I mean, but, and you know, to Elon's point, Elon's already talked about the dangers of AI. You know, the dangers of AI and how a person could use AI is you could use it for good, or you could use it for a disastrous cause, a really wicked cause, and cause a lot of harm. And you know, so he's been expressing that for the longest time, and nobody's listening to him. And he already called for AI to get kind of put the brakes on AI, but you know, you don't take him serious or what, and so he does this thing, and now it's an atrocity. Okay, I was just trying to go back to that post to see if he. Oh yeah, so 130 million views. It was shared over 241,000 times. Okay, it was shared 241,000 times. I thought it was hilarious. I thought I reshared it, but I'm not for sure what. I'll just put a marker on it. Okay, so that's Kamala Harris. You know, they want you to believe Kamala Harris has this great record with I guess in the battleground states. They want you to believe that she is picking up steam. She's surpassing Donald Trump. I can't believe these numbers, you guys. I was trying to see if they... and this is based off the polling. Okay, it says in Arizona, 44% support Harris, while 49% back Trump. Georgia, 46 to Harris, 48%. When was this written? Let me just see. This was July the 26th. This is kind of old because the ones that I just saw was kind of crazy. Let me see if it's gonna share some numbers with this. They were like really neck and neck. It was like 49 to 49. Okay. 50. You had Minnesota. Kamala was winning by a point. She was up a percentage point against Donald Trump. And, you know, it's saying that, oh, she's really picking up steam and she's really actually she has a fighting chance. I really don't. I think they're trying to build up this momentum and saying, oh, look at Kamala, she does have a fighting chance. And I don't think she does have a fighting chance. I think they're just trying to build up momentum so when they steal the election, we will actually believe what they're telling us. I think they're trying to actually steal this election. I really do. Some people might say, oh, how would they steal the election? Well, if you're sending me mail-in ballots and if you're hiding people's campaign money, you're using people's name for their campaign money. If you're lying on campaign money and campaign donations, why wouldn't you lie on the ballot? We already discovered that they had a massive ballot dumping in Georgia back in the other election, 2020 election, and everybody's just, you know, they only people that was talking about that was the actual Senate, Georgia Senate. You know, they questioned some of the elections, I guess, solidifiers. But nobody talked about that. Nobody talked about the people in Massachusetts doing the ballot dumping. And Democrats don't steal elections. You send us mail-in ballots, and you could put somebody's name on it, and you just submit it. It doesn't make any sense. I did want to say or put this out there. Election 2024 live updates with VP pick. Harris VP pick looms. Trump launches a border czar tax. Some Democrats think North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper is the vice president for Kamala Harris' top prospect for the running mate. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure if he's gonna be the running mate. It says what's happening at the campaign trail today. Vice President Kamala Harris is reviewing her potential running mate options, top contenders, reportedly including North Carolina Roy Cooper, Pennsylvania Josh Shapiro, Mark Kelly of Arizona, and Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. I could truly say, I thought, and I'm thinking, Mark Kelly will be the nominee. You had, what's his name, Vivek Ramaswamy. He thinks Michelle Obama will be the nominee. But no, I think Mark Kelly will be the nominee, the presidential nominee. It says former President Trump is attempting to refine his lines attack now on President Joe Biden to no longer his opponent. Trump attacked Harris personally as a bum, and he has tried to paint her as a face of a chaotic border. Well, it is. It is. That's a true depiction of how she handled the border. Polling shows that the narrowing race with these new polls suggests Trump and Harris are tied in several battleground states. That's what they're saying. And that's what I mentioned earlier, that they're supposed to be tied. Do we believe that? Not for sure if I believe this or not. I'm trying to see if this is going to come off to see if we could actually read it.
Showing just how tight the race is. Trump and Harris tied in Michigan and Pennsylvania. Trump inside the margin of error with a 1-point lead in Wisconsin, and Harris leading Trump in Minnesota by 6 points outside the margin of error. The vice president improving on President Biden's battleground standings before he left the race.
Hello, Bitcoiners.
The former president stumping for support in Nashville today at a Bitcoin conference.
Laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet.
Talking up cryptocurrency, but also blasting his competitor for the White House.
She's a radical left lunatic.
That after a Friday night speech hitting Vice President Harris on the Biden administration's border policy.
Millions of people crossing, and she was the border czar. Now they're trying to say she never was the border czar.
Trump, for the first time this weekend, not wearing a bandage on his wounded ear. The FBI late Friday clarifying that the former president was, in fact, hit by a bullet or fragments from a bullet 2 weeks ago. The Republican nominee also announcing on social media that he will continue to do outdoor rallies. Vice President Harris also on the campaign trail this weekend, headlining an 800-guest fundraiser in Massachusetts, raising more than $1 million, according to a campaign official.
And ours is a fight for the future, and it is a fight for freedom.
Harris also sending a recorded message to the Gen Z-led Voters of Tomorrow summit in Atlanta.
And we know your vote cannot be taken for granted. It must be earned, and that is exactly what we will do.
Lester, tonight here in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Donald Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, are rallying supporters in this 6,000-seat arena. This is a state that hasn't gone Republican for president in 52 years, and tonight these two men hope to change that. Lester?
So, yeah, it's, you know, they're saying it's a small margin. They tied in some of the battleground states. Even they go to say that Kamala Harris is leading by 6 points in Minnesota. I just want to point out this comment. Nellie Mack saying these polls want to talk about election interference. Well, WTF do we call this? I think that's an excellent point. This is an excellent point. Because these polls are not true numbers. They're not indicative to who is actually voting. They're just calling people up, maybe sending you a text. And they only take a small sample size. Small sample size. We get a few sprinkles here and few sprinkles there. And hopefully people will answer. Like 11 or 1,200. If you read down in the captions of these polls, they take a sample size of 11 or 1,200 people. Not the general population. So you got people believing this nonsense. And do you have anyone in this audience, put a 1 in the chat, have you ever answered the poll? I'm pretty sure some people called you or text you. Have you actually answered a poll? Put a 1 in the chat. Because normally people ignore it. You usually ignore the polls. So who is only the people that's like maybe the elderly or something? Gen Z is not answering no polls unless you like super passionate and say, oh, I want to make sure they know about who I'm voting for, you know? And this, it leads me to what I want to talk about next with Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris, they mentioned that Kamala Harris raised $1 million. I believe, you know, what is it? You know, your black women, there's, you know, they're very in support of Kamala Harris. The black sisters are threatening the black woman. You better support, because we support you all the time. So they had a call. And even the white men for Kamala Harris, black men for Kamala Harris. So you got white men, black men, all the main, I guess the main quote unquote races. You don't, we didn't see Hispanics for Kamala Harris yet. We haven't seen that. But I do want to share this post with you. Colin Rugg this is a former teacher doing the Woman for Harris Zoom call, says white women should not correct people of color and need to check their privilege. I was in the room this morning. I think this is why black women are kind of crazy. They don't understand, or we don't know how to take critique or criticism. And it could be like, we were talking about how many people were killed by the police today. And they were saying, are you voting for Kamala Harris, blah, 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 and why should you vote for her, why shouldn't you not, blah, blah, blah. And they changed the subject about police killing, and they mentioned the last lady that got killed in Springfield. She was wrongfully shot. The guy is in jail, okay? And they got mad at one of the guys that he said, well, if somebody killed mine, I'll probably take it on my own self, and I would probably kill them. And the lady, and she was a young lady, she ended up getting upset about this whole conversation because she was like, you're trying to advise us to go all out war with the police officers, and they're just slaughtering us in the street. And he tried to explain to her, well, it's not really a slaughter in the street. This is something, things happen, and this is one of the things that happens. Everybody get killed by the police, not just black folks. It's white folks too. So I had to bring up the statistics. I said, well, if we want to put things in perspective, 1,100 individuals were killed by the police last year. Out of the 1,100, 240 of them were black. 460 people were white. The rest was like other Hispanic or blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, and she instead of saying, oh, okay, now I have a perspective. Okay, maybe the media is inflaming on us. That's what an intelligent person to analyze the numbers, that you wanted the numbers. So I just gave her the numbers. She said, well, it doesn't matter because they still killing us. They still slaughtering us in the street. That's way 200 is still way too many. Okay, yeah, we don't want anybody to die wrongfully by the hands of the police. But we didn't determine whether this was wrong for death or if this was a cause of death because this was a rifle shooting. So, stuff like that is like she wanted the information and then she tried to change the information. And several other black women were like that on this call that I was on. So you white woman is saying, hey, check your privilege. You don't want to talk to or correct black women. Well, what if the black woman is wrong? Take the black out of it. What if the person is wrong and you clearly know the answer? You know the answer and you know the answer is right. Like this is black and white. 1 + 1 = 2. And this fool keep on saying no, it's 5. You just gonna let them, just because they black, you just gonna let them believe it's 5? But you're not my friend. You're not my friend. You're not for me. You want me to look stupid. Miss Frazzled practically called the white woman to bow down to people of color. Woman during the call. Stop saying this. BIPOC. That's stupid. People of color, BIPOC, blah, blah, blah. I hate that reference. But anyway, women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is really important time. And we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. This is why I don't like liberal white women, because they're kind of evil. You want to step, oh, look at me. You're trying to make it, this whole statement is about you now. And you got this almost evil like plan that you're hatching. Like, why you need to say all that? Yeah, I'm in support of Kamala Harris. No, if you say something I don't like, or say something that you do something I don't like, I'm going to stick up for myself. It's not a crime to be a white woman. It's not a crime. It's not a crime to be yourself around black people. That's not a crime. But you have some black women, or some black people in general, that think, oh, you need to shut up because you're white. That's totally ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Unless you're in a space that we're talking about black issues. Okay, yeah, this is not what we're talking about here. It doesn't concern you. But if we're talking about the president of the United States, we're trying to get this lady in office. She's not only going to be your president. She ain't the president just for the black people. She's president for the whole United States. Anyway. So she says this.
Of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am like shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too. So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
I don't know what the hell she was going on to say, but the tone of this is like, we're not children here. We're campaigning. You don't get this in the Republican Party. We all are adults. We might not agree on everything. We could have a healthy debate. Okay? Are you warning people? Because I noticed that on the other side, and I'm saying liberals, they do not know. They ask you a question and they don't know how to accept the answer for what you give them. Okay, you asked me for this answer and you mad at me because I gave you this answer. And they go off on the deep end. So is she warning them like, okay, don't correct them. They've been marginalized. These are crazy individuals. Are we saying that? These people need some damn counseling. You guys put it in the chat. Like I said, I attend these spaces on purpose because I want to see what younger people are talking about and why they're on the fence or why are they in extreme support of Kamala Harris. I like to hear it. And then, I don't want to offend anybody, but I noticed the sentiment of, I am traumatized, I'm hurt, I'm this, I'm that. And it's only because they're seeing in the media. They haven't been individually hurt, but they see it. They're taking somebody else's trauma and saying, like that Sonia Massey individual. Very tragic event. Very tragic, and I hope her family gets justice for this event. Okay? Very tragic. But like I said, you're projecting this, oh, it's happening everywhere, and don't you see it? They're slaughtering us like cattle. You know, how dare you speak to me? And, you know, you try to reason with them and it goes off the rails. They get so mad and so entrenched with their emotions. You can't have a reasonable conversation with them. So is she warning them to say, hey, don't correct black people because, you know, black women, they crazy. They not going to stand for it. Is that the problem? So I just, you guys let me know what you think about this. So they're calling on the white woman and the white men. I guess they're having the Zoom call today. Okay, the white men for Kamala Harris. You know, they had the black men for Kamala Harris. You know, he was online crying. And the white woman, I don't know how much they raised. But it's very, very cringy type behavior. Instead of, hey, we are a party and we're all going to unite and get Kamala Harris in office. I don't understand that. Why can't you do that? You got a common cause. Y'all love abortions. We all uniting for abortions, and even the men. You guys want to support women on their abortions, the right to abort babies. Stand up on that. You know, you all have a common cause, and you want equitable and equality. You want a communism, basically. Speaking of communism, this is my last point I'm going to make about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was, I know I reposted this. She was talking about equity. Equity. Let me see. I'm not for sure how old this video is, but this is the basic definition of communism. This is really scary. This is the woman that we want to elect in office.
About a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place, as opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not everybody started out in the same place, you understand some people need more.
Everyone should end up in the same place. Do you guys realize how dangerous that statement is? You mean to tell me I worked my ass off on my engineering degree, buying real estate, me and my husband, we work our ass off, and you want me to end up in the same place as some lazy person? No, we started at the bottom too. Times got rough. When me and my husband get on the budget, everything go. We start buying cheap toilet paper. Everything's unknown, unbranded in our household. We start canceling subscriptions. Matter of fact, we went through a phase that we just started canceling subscriptions. My kids looking at me, we ain't gonna have that subscription. No, we ain't having that subscription no more. So you want me to say, oh, Joe Schmo, they don't have the same thing. Let me give something to them. No, they didn't work for it. They didn't work for it. This is the definition of communism. You put everything in a pot. Even though I could work 20 hours, and Joe Schmo only can work 8 hours, I guess, because he don't feel like it. He only want to work 8 hours. And then we divide it equally amongst ourselves. That's some bullshit. Okay, unless you in my family. We all, if we're under the same roof, we all put in the pot, and that's called a trust. Okay, that's what a trust is, a living trust. We all put in the same pot, and we go on business ventures together. You know, I mean, that's my family though. But you're talking about the whole United States of America. The person that made, and let's put Google, and the person that, the Google CEO, the owner of Google, he came up with the brains of the operation, and really took the money to invest in Google, and decided, oh, we need to expand in all these business ventures, hire the right people. And you think he should give you, you're not going to like that. You said you don't like those. That's not fruit. If you want a snack, fruits or a granola bar. No, you got those little.
No, they're all chocolate.
Well, eat those.
No, I don't.
Okay. Snacks is fruit, Chase, or some crackers. Anyway, so you want me to Google to divide up their I guess empire, so everybody could have the same amount. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense? Yeah. Okay, no one person has more than the other. But why would I break my back? So I can have just the same as you. No, I like nice things. So yeah, I'm going to work more and twice as hard, because that's what feeds my working hard.
So we all end up in the same place, right? We are proud of the fact that equity is one of our guiding principles. Proud of the fact that we understand equality is important, but not everybody starts out on the same base. We see that people in our country are having an experience that is not equal. So when we talk about the work we are doing here together, it is recognizing that and being guided by this principle of what we must do in the spirit and in the interest of equity. To put equity firmly at the center of our economic policy. But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners.
Okay. It benefits Black families, Black homeowners. But what about the white families? You got some poor white people. I just don't understand what is she saying. This is communism. Marxism, communism at its best. Okay. Now, if we want to get into reparations, I think that's a different subject. But it has to be. She's not talking about reparations. She's talking about that universal income-based plan and universal health care for all. Even illegals. Remember, I shared that video with you last week. Even illegal residents. Illegals that come into our country. This is what she's talking about. They started off on the bottom. Everybody should make sure they get the same amount as everybody else, even though they don't belong here. Anyway, you guys put in chat, let me know what you think. She sounds like a nut job. Equity is not equality. It's not. Samuel J. said, interestingly, the current Google CEO an immigrant, but he earned his way up. And it's funny how most immigrants could come over here and start from nothing and usually build pretty much wealth for themselves. They'll build generational wealth. Can we say, oh, they slept their way to the top like Kamala Harris? No. It's usually hard work and dedication. And of that community, it's mostly Indians. They say Indians had probably the highest, what is it called? Highest wealth, you know, in the United States is Indians. Most of the people that's up the top 10 people are all immigrants. And then you have whites. Blacks are like in the lowest totem pole. We've been here for the longest. And I could say there have been laws as, they took away things, i.e. Kamala Harris took away stuff that our people own. So yeah, we lost some of our footings. But what about the people that actually, even though they were poor, they still worked? What about those people? What happened to them? And I'm specifically talking about black people, black individuals. They worked. Nothing ever happened to them. They just worked, or maybe they didn't work. They just lived off of welfare. What about those people? Do they deserve the same equity? I think everybody deserves a valuable education. It's up to you if you want to use that education for the good. But if you don't work hard at what you're trying to achieve, you're not going to get it. I'm sorry. I don't care what color you are. And it's not going to come easy. Anyway, that's what I want to say about Kamala Harris. You guys put in chat. Let me know what you think. The last story of the hour is about Joe Biden. Joe Biden, he wants to put a stop to all this tyranny with the Supreme Court. I guess the last 3 rulings have not ruled in their favor. So he's trying to put term limits on the Supreme Court. He's saying no one's above the law, but let me see. Where is this at? I can't find my bookmark. He's saying no one is above the law, but you're above the law, Joe Biden. You're above the law. You use the justice system and you try to prosecute your political opponent. But now that there's a Supreme Court to overrule what you try to, I guess, politicize Donald Trump or prosecute Donald Trump, and they overruled it. Now you're saying, oh, we need to put the brakes on the Supreme Court. Okay. So one of the things, the Supreme Court reform, they want to put term limits on there. And I probably agree with the term limits. What to know about the President Biden's election? Your proposal overhauls Supreme Court. Okay, this came out just today. This is on USA Today. It says Joe Biden is using his final 6 months in office to push sweeping reforms to the Supreme Court and a constitutional amendment to ensure that the presidents are not immune from criminal prosecution. Although he's no longer a candidate himself, Biden is making this a big issue for his past months as president and handling Vice President Kamala Harris, the new presumptive Democratic nominee, a hot button topic to hit on the campaign trail. It says, but don't expect Biden to take the step that the left-wing flank of his party really wants. A bigger Supreme Court packed with a Democratic picks to balance out the conservative supermajority that overturned Roe v. Wade. And they want them to expand the Supreme Court. That's what Democrats want them to do, so it could be fair. No. What do you want, Chase? Okay, so they want him to expand it. Scale back gun control laws and raise questions about future in same-sex marriage. Here is what to expect from Biden's Supreme Court overhaul package. Um, and they're saying it's a liberal wish list. Okay. It says none of his reforms, which Harris quickly endorsed, are likely to pass in a divided Congress. Yet Biden is igniting what could be defining issue in 2024 campaign. It's also a salvo by Democratic President amid an increasingly tense relationship with the 6-3 conservative Supreme Court that has angered the left with the recent decisions overturning the constitutional right to an abortion, ending the affirmative actions in college, blocking Biden's actions to cancel student loan debt for college students, and limiting federal authority to combat climate change. The constitutional amendment on presidential immunity, he wants to get rid of that because this was just a direct response to the Supreme Court ruling last month. Okay, they decided a president does have some type of immunity over the January 6th incident. Okay. Term limits for justices. He said they should not serve beyond 18 years. I could kind of agree with that. I could get on that. That's a reasonable thing that he suggests. 18 to 20 years. Under the change, the president will appoint a new justice every 2 years to replace the justice whose terms end. Okay, it will mark a seismic change for an institution that was founded on giving individual justice enormous power throughout lifetime appointments. Term limits could mean that the court's 6-3 conservative majority could change composition significantly sooner than if justices serve out their lifetime terms. So term limits will help ensure that the court membership changes with some regularity. That would make timing for the court nominations more predictable and less arbitrary. I don't have a problem with that. A code of conduct for Supreme Court, the third proposal, Congress is to pass a binding enforceable conduct and ethics rules for justices. Don't have a problem with that. The first one, they'll probably have a problem with that. The immunity, I don't think that's going to pass because if you pass it on Supreme Court, Cannon, what you drinking? Oh, okay. You drinking like it's coffee or something. If they're saying term limits on the justices, you got to say term limits on Senate and the representative or Congress. You can't just say one-sided term limits on justice and you guys could die in office like Dianne Feinstein. Okay, and the guy that's freezing up all the time was this senator. You know who I'm talking about, from Louisiana or wherever he's from. You can't say one end. So I don't think that's going to pass. But code of conduct that might pass because they issued the code of conduct. I think that's a bipartisan bill that they might enforce, and they issued a code of conduct for and I'm not for sure, you guys put in the chat, I'm not for sure if that bill passed, but for Congress not to be able to trade stock. They can't hold any stock while they're in office. Okay, so I think that's that might pass, really. So I can't see anything else passing. Okay, so you guys put in the chat, let me know what you think about all of this. Joe Biden, is he going in the right direction? We actually really don't care about Joe Biden right now because he's saying he wasn't fit to run, so he might not be fit to run for office. And this might not be his words. This might be, whoever's pulling the string in the White House. Okay. There was a time when they didn't favor party. They favored the law. Exactly. It's not about that. They are very biased and convoluted. Not for sure. I think they, if you interpret the law, Yeah, I could say, yeah, you're probably right about that. Because if you're a conservative person, you're going to think conservatively. If you are a liberal person, you're going to think liberally, I guess. Ketanji Brown, and their issue with abortion, when they overturned Roe v. Wade. Of course, it was 6-3, so it overturned. You have the 3 people that think those laws should be intact, and then a conservative person don't think it should be intact. So it's all up to their interpretation. I think, but when you're talking about immunity, yeah, you are interpreting what this says in the Constitution or in the law, and apparently Trump's lawyers laid out a case that was very convincing for the 6 individuals. Would it have been ruled in Joe Biden's favor? Not for sure. We don't know. Anyway, Samuel Matthew is saying that equity is not equality. Okay, I think I already read that one. Anyway, you guys, I really appreciate every single last one of you for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.
Bye.